Breaking news. Kylian Mbappe has been put up for sale by PSG. That was broken tonight. They already believe that Real Madrid have an agreement with the French captain. Guys, we're going to get into it right here, so don't go anywhere. Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And this is an impromptu stream as Fabrizio Romano broke on Twitter that Kylian Mbappe is up for sale. Breaking news. And he tweeted and put out in a statement, Kylian Mbappe has been left out of Paris Saint-Germain's squad for the pre-season tour in Japan. Decision made by PSG tonight. Paris Saint-Germain are convinced that Kylian Mbappe has already agreed terms to join Real Madrid in 2024 on a free deal. They wanted an answer on a new deal or leave now by July the 15th, but they received nothing at all. So Mbappe has been left out of the preseason tour and is considered for sale. PSG want to sell, and guys, this news is massive. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people who think, that's it. Mbappe's off to Real Madrid. Real Madrid did put in a large fee. I can't remember what the bid was last year, but they did put in a bid for Mbappe last summer, which was rejected by PSG. And then he did sign his new contract, of course. And yeah, that was a short-term deal, but it looked like he was given the kingdom of PSG. That was interesting. With all the 200 million euro bid, that was it. Not last summer, but in the 31st of August 2021. But it was too late for PSG, and they didn't want to, and they weren't willing to make a move. But this has blown the transfer window right wide open, and this is why we love football, guys. And this is why the transfer window is such a spectacle, because it has a domino effect to it. With a deal like this, if Kylian Mbappe was to leave PSG and go to Real Madrid, for example, let's say that's where most people believe he's going to go. If Kylian Mbappe goes to Real Madrid are going to have to get some funds, clear a pathway in terms of that for him for financial fair play, which means that Real Madrid are going to have to sell some valuable assets, maybe at least one valuable asset. We've seen that's how they've operated in the past. I did a stream earlier on talking about Harry Kane, the potential that he can move from Spurs to Bayern Munich. And what we saw previously when Tottenham did get when Tottenham did sell Gareth Bale, they had to sell Mesut Ozil to create the stream, to the revenue to get him in Gareth Bale. And that was in a time where Real Madrid were a lot more financially stable than what they're at now. So that is in a situation, and Real Madrid have worked really well in building this squad for the future, bringing in the likes of Jude Bellingham for 80 plus million euros, rising up to 100, bringing in a Tchouaméni for 80 to plus million euros, rising to 100 again in the past two summers, building this young core of Vinicius, Rodrigo, Valverde, and that's not mentioning Camavinga, while still keeping the experienced heads of a Modric, Kroos, Alaba, Rudiger, for example. They've got a perfect balance, and this is something that they were planning for a while. And as reports are saying, they had an agreement with Kylian Mbappe personally to leave on a free, which would have been perfect for both parties. He gets to go to Real Madrid, the club that he's always desired to go to, where his footballing idol in Zinedine Zidane was a player and could potentially be a coach again next season, with Carlo Ancelotti looking to move on. He gets a massive transfer. He gets a massive boost in wages, signing on bonus. So he gets to see all of the money that Real Madrid were willing to pay. It will save Real Madrid a lot of money because with Kylian Mbappe, they'll need to offer him a high wage that demands one of the best players in the world, which he is in today's game, and could be one of the best of all time, potentially. I know it sounds crazy to say right now when we've had Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, but he's certainly been passed the baton for that. And Real Madrid will crave these Galacticos, and he's the perfect fit for them with Karim Benzema leaving. So that's freed up wages, that's freed up space there. But Real Madrid weren't planning to get Kylian Mbappe in this window. And it seems inevitable that he will be a Madrista, of course. But at what price? And if there is the possibility that Kylian Mbappe doesn't go to Real Madrid and they simply say, nope, we can't afford him, or, we're not able to maneuver the funds in a way to get him, which I find difficult to imagine right now. There are certain clubs out there in the world that can, and a lot of them are based in the Premier League. So one of the teams that have had a link with Kylian Mbappe previously is Liverpool. And there's been a lot of rumours and news surrounding that of Kylian Mbappe speaking to Jurgen Klopp, and Jurgen Klopp talking about the desire to bring him to Anfield. But the big red flag in that scenario is Liverpool, how they operate. They don't tend to spend that much money on one individual. And the fact that in this summer, they weren't able to get their number one priority in Jude Bellingham because they needed to address multiple areas of that midfield and weren't able to invest just on one midfielder. And Liverpool's business certainly isn't done. Yes, they may have freed up some, wage cap in that sense, kind of linking it to an American sport point of view, like the NFL and NBA or Major League Baseball. Freed up some wage cap with the likes of Jordan Henderson now, potentially with a Fabinho, a Thiago, a Firmino who's left. But the transfer fee, are they going to be willing to pay the transfer fee what Paris Saint-Germain will demand for Kylian Mbappe? Highly doubt it. Arsenal are a club that previously could have got Kylian Mbappe when he was at Monaco. Arsene Wenger has come out previously and spoken of his desire to bring Kylian Mbappe to the Emirates, but he decided to go to Monaco. I think, to stay at Monaco, break through there, and eventually go to PSG. Arsenal are in a position where we are one of the most desirable, football teams in the world to join right now, with arguably one of the most exciting projects out there, with a chance to become, with the chance of joining something that looks. The Arsenal showing a lot of ambition. We've got a lot of wages cleared through how we've operated in the last few years. Arsenal are willing to spend high in transfer fees as well, returning back into the Champions League, just come off of a season challenging the almighty Manchester City. Arsenal are looking for superstars, and we've signed 105 million on Declan Rice and already spent over 200 million on Declan Rice, Havertz and Urian Timber. But Arsenal's issue isn't transfer fees. Arsenal's issue previously was wages. That is no longer the issue. As you've seen, Arsenal have offered lucrative contracts to the likes of Saka, who signed, William Saliba, who signed, Gabriel Martinelli, who signed, Aaron Ramsdale, who signed. Martin Odegaard is one that we're moving on to next. The dream is there. I know I can see some people in the comments already talking about Mbappe, Matt G. So I need to go to this comment right here, talking about Mbappe to Arsenal, saying I'd take Mbappe at Arsenal. Good bench option behind Martinelli. The project's there. The project's clear under an up-and-coming manager in Mikel Arteta, where he could, create some history with one of his idols previously, his footballing idols, shall I say, role models in Thierry Henry. The ambition is there. The opportunity is there. The money. I'm sure it won't be a problem. What Arsenal can offer him: Champions League football, a chance to compete for the biggest trophies in the world, to play in the Premier League, to live in London, to have that lifestyle, which isn't going to be too dissimilar to the lifestyle in Paris, and join his fellow Parisian in William Saliba, potentially. I'm just trying to add, let me dream. Okay, I'm an Arsenal fan, but another option is Manchester City. I don't think many people have really spoken about this, because maybe the fear of it happening and the fact that they don't want this to happen at all in Kylian Mbappe joining Manchester City to join up with Pep Guardiola, Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, and the likes of, and to improve the treble winners greater. It's a nightmare for football and every other club competing against Manchester City. But if you're a Manchester City fan, if you couldn't think life would get any better. But if Kylian Mbappe walked through the door, it just has. And the reason why I think this is a realistic option if he doesn't go to Real Madrid, Manchester City have generated we know money's not an option. No, I mean, money's not a problem, not an option. Money's not a problem for Manchester City anyway. But the amount of money that they've generated in transfer fees to reflect well on financial fair play, they've just sold James Trafford for up to £19 million. Carlos Borges is going for 14 million to West Ham. They sold Shea Charles for 10 million, and this is just their academy players alone. Let alone, and this is without Gabriel Jesus, Alexander Zinchenko, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez now. I'm definitely missing a few more. But what they're doing there at Manchester City, they could certainly do it. The option is there if Real Madrid aren't able to offer the money and aren't able to get him this summer, and he has to leave PSG, as they have said. Manchester City are there. Manchester United, a Champions League team, a club that aren't shy in offering wages and possibly will blow most teams out of the water in terms of wages. And for the likes of Kylian Mbappe, that is a Glazer dream, to bring in a commercial asset like a Kylian Mbappe who will get the brand deals back on side, get the business commercial aspect back on side for Manchester United, who are already they're in the start of the project of their own where they need a forward. He's got a good relationship with Marcus Rashford already. Manchester United, the name itself is huge. Erik ten Hag, a top coach. He'll be with the likes of Casemiro there, Raphael Varane, someone who he's played with in France and won a World Cup with, bringing in Andre Onana. Manchester United could be an interesting proposition. But the issue with Manchester United right now is they're struggling to find the money to pay this transfer fee. Transfer fee they are an issue because of the horrible situation, because of how the Glazers have ran that club into the ground, as far as into the ground as you can be from a Manchester United perspective. But Manchester United ultimately should never be in a position where they can't sign a player like Kylian Mbappe with the revenue that they make, but with the amount of dividends and the debt that the Glazers have put on the club. It means it's difficult for them to even look at Hojlund. But it all depends on what that transfer fee is that Paris Saint-Germain are going to want. And this could be a transfer that goes well into the end of the transfer window, essentially. Because the longer this goes on, where Mbappe Mbappe isn't going to leave and he's still at PSG, the more his value diminishes, especially now that PSG have made it public of their desire to sell. And that favours all interested parties. Real Madrid being the number one, of course. They can lower the fee. It'll make it more feasible for them, where they can sell less assets than one of the midfielders that they might need to sell in a Valverde, or potentially, who seems like a key figure for Carlo Ancelotti's side, possibly a Tchouaméni, possibly a Camavinga. Who knows? Who knows indeed? This is it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Where do you think Kylian Mbappe is going to end up? Do you think PSG are making the right decision? Because we haven't really spoken about them as of yet. And I think this is a very, do you know what? Very brave, but very wise thing to do. Take back control away from Kylian Mbappe, who he said that, no, I don't want to sign a 1-year extension. And PSG were a bit shocked, surprised about that. He hasn't communicated that. This is coming from the PSG end, of course. Mbappe will tell his side of the story, but he hasn't communicated until the very last minute that he doesn't want to sign a new deal, and left them in a position where they feel betrayed. They feel that Kylian Mbappe has gone behind their backs, spoken to Real Madrid, which is probably the case. And another thing I mentioned earlier in my stream, Harry Kane is in a similar position at Spurs, where they're going to be demanding a lot of money that most clubs just simply can't pay for whatever reason, for whether they're looking at other priorities, whether their financial position doesn't allow them to pay the transfer fee plus the wages required to get a player of this caliber. They will be speaking to the likes of Harry Kane, the likes of Kylian Mbappe from now to try and gauge his interest. We've already seen it with Declan Rice. We've already seen it with Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham has been courted for years by Liverpool, Manchester United, Real Madrid. And look how that happened. Erling Haaland, the same thing happened to him last summer as well. And Kylian Mbappe is one of those, arguably the best player in the world. Hat trick in the World Cup final, World Cup winner at a very young age. The kid's 24? The kid is my age. He's even younger than me because he's born in December. The world's at his feet, and he's got a lot of power coming up. But PSG are trying to rein some of that power, trying to get a transfer fee for this so that they don't want to lose a key asset like this for free. And they've left him out of the squad. Let me know where you think he's going to end up if you are watching afterwards into the comment section. Will he end up at Real Madrid inevitably? Or will he end up elsewhere? Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool. Those are the favourites. Will he end up to Saudi Arabia? I'm sure we're going to hear more on this, but now it's time to get into the comments, into the live chat, see what you guys and girls are saying in here. Big up my brother Enz in the building, says big up bro. Big up Realist in the building too, says crisp and quality audio. Appreciate you, my bro. I did have a hiccup at the start of this where I did create another stream. I tried to do it. It wasn't moving correct, so I just had to start again. And hopefully everything is all okay and okay. It's looking like it is. I lowered the quality a little bit and tried to sort out the Ethernet cable. But Bargav in the building, hope you're doing good, says finally, sometimes you got to cut the bad fruit off the tree. Guys, a team cancer. Wow, strong words about Kylian Mbappe there from Bargav. Even if Kroenke's got $1 billion to spare, would not want him. Strong opinions on that. And how he's treated Paris Saint-Germain in that sense. I think you're fair. I think you've got to put a point to say that in how he's disrespected his employer to such a degree, where we've seen the likes of Declan Rice behave in such a professional manner, not declare publicly his desire to leave at any point. He said he wants to stay at West Ham. That's his club. Allow them to get the best fee possible, but rejected contracts, let them know from early of his desire to leave, but never made it public once. Let the club know so they can work out the best deal and plan in the best possible way. Whereas Kylian Mbappe is taking it into his own hands. And that's why I say you got a fair point, but I also disagree because I think footballers should be selfish because the teams, the clubs are just as selfish when it suits them. This is a ruthless business at the end of the day. Football is harsh. It is horrid. We've seen it so many times within the game where a player has committed his future to a certain club, even when they're in dire straits. Earlier on, as I said, Harry Kane, as soon as he made his desire of wanting to leave, acted in the most professional way possible until he made his desire to leave out public. But Spurs didn't grant his wish. After all the gentleman agreements that he was given by Daniel Levy, they said no, because it doesn't suit us. And he's signing that contract to keep and trying to have that gentleman's agreement. Hasn't paid off. We're seeing a situation right now with Moises Caicedo at Brighton, where they offered him a contract. I'm guessing made assurances that yes, you'll be allowed to leave for a fair fee in the summer if you sign this contract. Trust us, we'll give you our word. Hasn't happened. Now the dynamics have changed in the transfer window. Declan Rice goes for 105 million. I want a piece of that pie. We're not selling Moises Caicedo for anything less. That's still yet to remain. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with that transfer there, but we're hearing that Moises Caicedo isn't happy with that situation. Shows you once again, this game is very, very cutthroat. So I do understand why Kylian Mbappe is doing this, and you have to be selfish at times to get the best for your career. PSG got abused by my PayPal contract terms before now getting mugged off again. Mercenaries FC getting what they deserve. Do you see that right there? Bargav and Paxton having a completely opposite end of opinions of views. And I'm leaning a bit towards, I'm more towards Paxton. I hear Bargav's point, and those of you that share that. But I think you have to be, if you're employing mercenaries, which they have done. Mbappe's put PSG on his back at points in the Champions League, guys. Let's not forget that. When they got knocked out by Real Madrid, when Real Madrid had that massive comeback, Mbappe scored the 2 goals to get them to that certain point. Messi was there, Neymar was there, couldn't do anything. Mbappe's done literally all he can for that club. And they've not operated in the right way at all. And a very scattergun approach, and not built the best team for him. I don't believe anyway. Even Lille won the league that one season. Waffle merchant going to midnight. What dreams are made of, or for some nightmares. I read that one earlier. Big up yourself, Matt G. No Arsenal. Tereak says realist. Paxton, Bargav, or PSG did everything and above and beyond to keep him, and the Diaby is a culprit. So we got disagreements in the chat here. Don't say it, Tereak. Y'all can't do it. I said it. I'm not saying he's not Bargav, but PSG ultimately bent over for him, and now they are getting the embarrassment from it. I mean, guys, keep it coming in the chat. Keep it coming in the chat. I'm enjoying this a lot. And PayPal will laugh in the face of Arsenal, Manchester United. Let's be real here, T. Stop dreaming. He's not laughing in the faces of Arsenal, Manchester United if Real Madrid aren't there. If Real Madrid are in the equation and they can get him realistically, of course, then I understand. But if the options aren't there, Pax, where else would he go? Where else could he feasibly go? Genuinely, Arsenal, Manchester United would be not a bad landing spot for Mbappe if it's not Real Madrid, because there's still the pathway of going to Real Madrid after Arsenal, Manchester United. You see, that's always been his dream. If either of our clubs were to get Kylian Mbappe, 3 years possibly tops, and then he still gets to move on, that's fine. He gets to play in the Premier League, gets to pick up a nice paycheck, playing one of the best leagues in the world, if not the best league, potentially win a league title or a Champions League, which he's got the level to do so. 3 years, he'll take that. And he gets to move on to Real Madrid at the end of it, a 3-4 year contract. both of our clubs will be willing to offer that. Arsenal offer 4-year contracts to so many players, to our best players, and Saka's on a 4-year, Saliba's on a 4-year. Potential's there. No. Mbappe goes to City. The FFP Charles' pile up. So it ain't happening. Stop this thinking process. Possibilities are there, man. Possibilities are there. Now we're talking when I mention Man United. Doubt he will go City. He'll want to be the main man at any club he goes to. Yeah, you'd say that Mbappe and Hojlund, I don't think they'd mind sharing the spotlight for him. And I think this kind of links up with when we were first talking about Haaland Matt G last season. That myth was dispelled about Pep Guardiola playing with a striker who has an ego. Those two things. A striker that's not this tiki-taka, this false nine, the most technically surrounded striker. Busted that. Scored so many goals. Treble winner. Haaland, the ego clash. He's managed that so far. I don't know. The fact that you have to imagine as well, it was credible rumours and it was credible sources talking about this just before Cristiano Ronaldo went to Manchester United. Manchester City were heavily interested after they couldn't land Harry Kane. It's there. The option is there. And Paxton says, if we get PayPal, I will walk to Manchester and say the Glazers are good owners. It ain't ever happening. Tereak's on the wind-up selling Wolf tickets. I'd love to see United offer Fred McTominay and 20 million for Mbappe. Similar deal to what they offered for, not too far off the deal what they offered for Declan Rice. I think that's less. I think they offered McTominay and Maguire and 40 mil. But yeah, Matt G, that's probably what it is. Paxton saying letting go of Valverde would be criminal for Real Madrid. I do agree. I think I was talking to Realist earlier on, and I think that if Real Madrid were to get Mbappe and they were to have to make a sale, it'd have to be either Tchouaméni or Camavinga, one of those to leave. And is Mbappe really going to want one of his French players to leave? Probably doesn't care. Just as long as he goes to Real Madrid. They got psycho vibes in the place. Says, I want the domino effect that might make Tchouaméni or Camavinga available, just as the one that I said there, who could be available. Could Arsenal or Manchester United, Liverpool, anyone be in and around those players? Arsenal right now, I personally love Camavinga. And I prefer Camavinga as an all-round player than a Tchouaméni. But the better fit right now could be a Tchouaméni, but the Partey rumours of him staying seems to be getting stronger, of him remaining at the club. We'll have to wait and see. Remember, guys, to like, subscribe, and share on the road to 700 subscribers. Yes, definitely, people. We are on the road there. Mbappe ain't joining a club that hasn't won major trophies in years. Arsenal had one successful campaign in a long time. It's dreaming, in my opinion. Hey, we'll have to wait and see. But people, I'm going to wrap it up here. I want you to let me know in the comments, what do you think's happening with this Mbappe situation? Are PSG making the right decision? Where will he end up? Inevitably, as we all think it will be Real Madrid. Let me know your thoughts, guys, in the chat. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and get in the comments as well. I want to hear your thoughts, people, as we're out. Love to you all, and peace.